This is the Four-Man Rush. Hello, Panther fans, and welcome to another episode of the Four-Man Rush podcast. I'm your host, Timmy V.O., and tonight we have two of the four fellows joining us today, Kevin and Will, and we're going to talk about the obvious... the obvious threat that the Carolina Panthers have added to the chess board of Ron Rivera. Ladies and gentlemen, we potentially could have one of the best defensive lines in Panther history, just composed right in front of your face. Big shout out to Herney. And we're going to talk about that and break that down and talk about some other things in relation to that, but it all starts with Mr. McCoy, who was pretty pissed off at Tampa. So, Kevin, why don't you give us your take on this awesome addition and exactly what he's going to bring to the table, and we'll go to Will after that.
All right, well, first, let me start off by saying, even though we're rushing two tonight, this is not going to be like it is in Pittsburgh. We're going to have all the subjects covered, all right? So we're rushing two, but we got it covered.
Don't worry about it.
All right. But yeah, man, I mean, I'll be honest, when the news came out that Gerald McCoy was released I think it was like 2 weeks ago, I honestly, I didn't have realistic expectations because I knew how much he was due to make, which was $13 million. And, at that time, we only had $9 million. So even with counting in the money from the Matt Khalil release, that would only get us up to 16. And it's like, okay, is this guy expecting to get back the money that Tampa, is not paying him? So for my mind frame, it was just like, every time someone release, a player, our fans are crying, we need to sign him. So I was kind of like, really didn't think much of it. Then when it got to the rumor that our name was mentioned, I started thinking about it like, okay, it would be nice, but again, can we afford this man? And knowing that the teams that was interested, Cleveland, who had $33 million in the salary cap, Baltimore had about, I believe, $13-14 million, and we were sitting there at 9. So, if that man was looking to, get paid, we were at the bottom of the totem pole as far as salary cap. So just never really started becoming more realistic. But, once I heard about how the visit went and he came down here and, was getting it started becoming more of a realistic option for me. And I'm like, man, with this talent, watching him for the past 9 years, I mean, without him, we're a really good defense. But with him, we can be elite. I mean, we're talking about somebody with a skill set that translates to he can play any D-line position, up front, as he stated earlier today, whether it's nose technique, 1, 3, or 5, if you can play, you can play. And him having that type of mind frame, I definitely like that. I definitely see, just looking over some film that been watching, I really like the fact that no matter where he lines up, he's making an impact. You don't see him slacking off. You don't see him, going hard some plays and taking off the next. One thing I like about him is he definitely has even at the age of 31, he definitely has a hot, steady motor. And I think that with the talent that that he's going to be playing around, with the hands-on coaching of Eric Washington and the play calling of Ron Rivera, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to play chess defensive style, and I'm looking for us to do a lot of check and mate in 2019.
Amen, man. I hope so. What you think, Will?
No, this is a home run signing. I mean, when you asked me in December that Gerald McCoy would be a Carolina Panther by the beginning of the summer, it just kind of came out of nowhere. Tampa Bay, I guess, moved on from him. They had a scheme change and felt Ndamukong Suh was a better fit for what they were doing. So he just kind of fell into our laps. I know, Marty Herney doesn't hide what he wants to do. He had an interview with WFNZ and was talking about how after the draft he wanted to add depth at the 5 technique or 3-4 defensive end position because we kind of lack depth there heading into the camp. So, we had interviewed Alan Bailey. So that's who I was talking about. Maybe after the draft, we'll sign to Alan Bailey and add depth to that position. And Tampa releases Gerald McCoy. And it just all happened so fast, and we were able to strike a deal and land him. So This is just a major upgrade on that line, and I just think he'll be a perfect fit in what the Panthers are trying to do. He can play 5 tech, he can play 3 tech, they can put him in nose if they want to, and pass rush downs in particular. We're gonna pair him up with a Kawan Short, who just made a Pro Bowl in his own right. This just has a lot of potential here. We have every reason to be excited about this signing. Don't let anybody, calm your excitement down. Right now's a good time to be a Panther fan. Should be a fun summer in Spartanburg.
Indeed, man. I personally can't believe that we have such a diverse individual in McCoy coming to this defensive line and working with Eric Washington, and we're having Ron Rivera, which technically this, if I'm not mistaken, this is his first year as an actual defensive coordinator type role on this team, along with his head coaching role, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yeah, he hasn't called plays since he's been with the Panthers. He had Sean McDermott initially. Then we had Steve Wilkes took over for a year. Then he got hired right away. And then Eric Washington took over for Steve Wilkes. So Rivera's only been in charge of the play calling for, the last few games of last season. But what you'll see, he ran a 3-4 defense back in his days at San Diego.
Yep.
And if you watch the film of the Panthers' last several games, they started using more 30 fronts and used more of a hybrid style defense. And the things he was doing were working very well. So he said, maybe let's try to be more regular, make this a more regular thing for us. So I think that's the reason why you're going to see him go in that direction. But, just look at the pieces he added to run this scheme now. You got, Dontari Poe at your nose tackle, Kyle Love backing him up. Your defensive ends going to be Kawan Short and Gerald McCoy, 2 Pro Bowlers, playing with Dontari Poe. And then backing them up, you still got, Vernon Butler, probably get some reps in that, and F.A. Obata, getting that. And then look what they did in the draft. You got Brian Burns to pair with Mario Addison. You signed Bruce Irvin in free agency to rotate behind them. You added Christian Miller in the draft. Marquise Haynes, he had speed coming off the edge that they added in last year's draft.
Yep.
Marty Hurney really deserves a round of applause. He really did a good job putting this team together.
Man, I couldn't stand some Marty Hurney, boy. I tell you, for a little bit, a lot of Panther fans felt that way too, man. I've seen and read about it. People didn't like Hurney very much when he left his organization. Now, how do you feel, Kevin? Dude, redemption complete.
Yeah, I'm on the record, and I got no problems, putting some season on my crow burger. I was one of the first ones that when I found out that, even when he was the interim after we left Gettleman go, I was like, nah, come on, not this guy again. Come on, man. And then when he got the full-time gig, I was like, hell no, come on, man. Why are we going in this direction? And he kind of warmed me up a little bit during the season. And then, when he held 2 kickers and chose to keep Gano over Butker, I'm like, see, here we go with that. Instead of paying $400,000, you want to pay $4 million. And then looking at some of these contracts, what Greg Olson is due and what Dontari Poe is due. I'm like, see, man, it's the same stuff that happened before. I admit, I definitely, was not feeling the Hearn, after the regular season was over after we had played the Saints. I was looking forward to him, getting his walking papers, but I was wrong. I'm glad that I'm sitting here on the same couch I'm talking to y'all on now, with what I thought would be the best move. As you mentioned, it's all about redemption, and everybody deserves a second chance. Thank God I get second chance to redeem myself. So, so he definitely showed that with just a little bit of money, because if I recall, we was like 26 in salary cap space heading into the 2019 free agency period. And all the guys that Will just brought up that we were able to pick up. Come on, man. There's teams that have more money that haven't done this good, with us. And I'm all about feeling the Hearn now. I definitely feel like that he's earned the right to not only, get an apology from me, but also get my full support. So I'm definitely on with Hurney, and as long as he continue to make the right choices and make the tough choices, I'm all for, the second time around him, making up for what he did the first time around. So, I had my crow burger, I got rid of it about right before we got on the air. So, I'm good now. But I definitely feel like Marty Herney probably, if they was to rate the off seasons for all the teams, if we're not in the top 5, then somebody doesn't know football. Considering what we had, the holes that were missing, and what was needed. I like the fact that they looked at the film, they decided what was our weaknesses, decided what needed to be addressed. They had a plan in place, and they stuck with the plan. They ignored the outside noise of what so-called experts and everybody was saying what we should do and who we should get. He stuck with a plan, and I like how it came out. So yeah, I'm feeling the Hearn right now. He did a hell of a job. On a scale of 1 to 10, hey, get that man 9.5.
Yeah, he did some magic with that cap, man, and of course, it took some players to cooperate and do the right thing in terms of for adding on some talent to the team so they can get to that Super Bowl, and hopefully win one, the first ever for the franchise. So Herney did some backflips and magic tricks on this shit, man. Whew, I'm really amazed, really amazed.
Yeah, and you also got to think about the fact that like you mentioned some of the players giving in. You talking about Luke Kuechly, wasn't a big sacrifice. He basically just got his 2019 salary money up front, which freed up some cap space. That helped out the team. I think that converted to what I believe like $7 million from him, from not something like that. And then Torrey Smith just a few days ago. Everybody been, he getting $5 million. That's too much. He's a number 3, 4 receiver. Shut your mouth and know your damn role. Look, Torrey Smith took one for the team. He, I know others will say, hey, it may have been he's going to get cut if he don't take this pay cut. Whatever, however it worked out, Torrey Smith's still on the team. He gave up nearly half of his 2019 salary, and it all led to us finalizing this big move. So, yeah, I definitely like the fact that we got a lot of team first players that were in position to help us out.
Indeed.
No, you look at the recruiting process for how they got Gerald McCoy here, and it's just the culture in this locker room is just something special. The leaders of the team took him out to lunch. It was Cam Newton, Luke Kuechly, Christian McCaffrey, KK, Greg Olsen, and Trey. And they all took Gerald out to dinner. They knew he was a vegan, so they found a vegan restaurant in Charlotte to wine and dine him and convince him to join the team. He talked with Ron Rivera and the coaching staff, and he was just so, attracted to the culture in that locker room and how close this team is together. He was willing to give up a few $1 million to be a part of what the Panthers have built. And so, props to just the Ron and Herney for building this culture, this team first culture. You just got a group of guys here that want to collectively get together and try to make a run for this championship.
Precisely. Now, back to McCoy.
And another.
Go ahead, Kevin. Go ahead. Please go ahead.
Oh no, Will just made me think of something. He was talking about gave up a few million. I mean, from the reports that came out, they didn't say whether it was Cleveland or Baltimore. I'm assuming Cleveland because they had more cap space. That the offer that he signed with, basically, one of them teams offered twice as much as he ended up signing for. So, Will bringing up the whole point about the culture here and things like that. In a cutthroat industry such as the NFL, when it comes to business and players to leave that much money out there to pretty much take a gamble on yourself, that says a lot about not only the Panthers, but that says a lot about McCoy as a man. What are the things that he values? What are the things that are going to make him feel comfortable? And it was brought up in the press conference today, about him taking a 1-year deal. It was more so saying that it was his idea to do a 1-year deal because this is a huge adjustment, for him and his family, being in Tampa for nearly the last 10 years. And I like the fact that, he was honest. It's just more so just kind of see how things go. And, I do my job and, if I do it well enough, I like to stick around, and I appreciate honesty about it. But yeah, the fact that he left off nearly double what he could have got to come here, that says a lot. Like I said about him and the Panthers. So, you know, uh, big shout outs to them for taking him out to lunch and like I said, knowing that he's vegan. Matter of fact, he said he just started being vegan about 5 months ago. He was looking at the fact that he wanted to. Now that he was in his 30s, he wanted to, change up his body and, and extend himself. So, hats off to those living that vegan lifestyle. I've thought about it, but it stayed as a thought. I haven't crossed that bridge yet myself.
That's all good, man. Whatever makes you happy, bro. But what I was going to say was about McCoy. Now I know he has a skill set, right? Six Pro Bowls in a row, if I'm not mistaken. So this man knows what he's doing on the football field. He understands leverage. He understands hand placement. He understands when to be a bull rusher, when not to be a bull rusher. So what exactly do you guys see in his skill set and in his game that makes him so darn dangerous?
Well, you start with he's a very good athlete. That's where you got to start with. So you have this elite athleticism, but he doesn't rely on that. He's 31 now. He's not the 25-year-old, that was an all-pro several years ago. But when you look at how he wins, he's winning with, advanced hand technique. He has a well-planned pass rush. He has good anticipation, explosive ball get off. He can read, what an offensive lineman takes his first step. He can beat him to the spot, blow up run plays like that. So just his IQ and technique is how he's winning now. And I think that stuff ages well with you. You may lose your speed. You may not be as strong and fast and quick as you once were, but with your IQ and technique, that'll age well, and you can play effectively into your early 30s. And you watch McCoy on tape and just see how he's able to win in so many different ways. You see exactly that.
Kevin, what do you see in McCoy and what he brings?
What I see in McCoy is I see a player that mentally wins the game before he even steps out on the field. When I watch film of him, I noticed that he used different moves, different combination of moves and techniques depending on where he's lined up at. Like he's not using the same, 2 or 3 moves on every single player. It just feels like that when he watching film, that he's really looking at all 5 of the offensive linemen for the opposing team, and depending on where he's lined up to play, it just comes off as he's a real cerebral player. Will was just speaking about his, athletic gifts and hand-eye coordination, thing like that. But I'm looking at the aspect of, from his mental approach to the game. This is a guy that rarely did you ever see not consistently winning on a game-to-game basis. And it just, it kind of just makes me wonder what Bruce Arians, who's the new coach for Tampa Bay, when, only been there a few months, to say what he said about, Gerald McCoy. I was just looking over what, saying he just wasn't a fit, is what he said last Friday. And it says whether it was, quote, whether it was financial or whatever on the field, it just didn't fit. I've been through this a number of times with guys and great players, and just comes a time when you have to separate from the organization. And I'm just like, is that how you feel? Really? Is are we watching the same guy here? But
I don't think so.
I felt like, when he said that, y'all remember that scene from Men in Society when the cop had him in there interrogating him? And he was like,
don't say it, man. Don't say it.
I can't say it. Man, I was gonna say it, but I get it. You know you done effed up, right? You know that, right? And that's just how I feel, man. It's and then when they try to validate the move with Sue, talking about he never misses a game, very seldom ever misses a practice. I mean, yeah, McCoy has missed 15 games in his 9-game career, but when you think about it, really, that's it. I was looking over the number of times he started. He started 14 games last year. 3 years before that, he started 15 games. So, I know he may have played with some injuries or whatever, but Will, you can touch on it a little bit. You shared something earlier about his, the number of snap counts that McCoy was taking. I mean, you're talking about a guy that literally looked like he played about, damn near the whole game. So, with the talent that we got and the way we like to rotate our defensive tackles, I see a rebirth of Gerald McCoy, in 2019, to be honest. And I think that's something that, like I said, it's going to be a lot of sleepless nights for offenses playing us, this coming season.
Right yeah, you watch that Tampa Bay defense, they're just so bad. I mean, they have some good individual players, JPP, Levante David, but, Gerald McCoy anchored that defense. I mean, that 6 straight Pro Bowls speak for itself. I'm just surprised they let him go like that and let Sue just come in and take his number, a few days later after he walks out. Just seems like it's real disrespectful.
That's mad disrespectful, yo.
But, McCoy, like you said, when you look at his snap counts, I mean, he's up in the 80, 90% range in the number of snaps played, which is pretty high for a defensive tackle. When you look at the Panthers in comparison, like Kawan Short, he's more in that 60%, 70% on a certain game range. So, and it's no coincidence that, Pro Football Focus had Kawan Short as the second most effective defensive tackle in the entire NFL, behind Aaron Donald in clutch situations. Clutch situations are defined as fourth quarter with the games within 7 points. So because KK has fresh legs in the fourth quarter, he's able to take over the fourth quarters of games and be so effective. So now if you can give Gerald McCoy those same breathers, and rotate, give Vernon Butler some snaps, give, Kyle Love some snaps, Brian Cox and F.A. Obado will probably be a good camp battle to look out for to see who makes the roster. But, get those guys in that rotation and you got a fresh KK and McCoy in the fourth quarter, watch them go to work.
Man, I can't wait, dude. Not only is McCoy going to obviously add something to our defense, our offensive line is going to get tested day in and day out. And if they're not ready for whoever we go up against, they're never going to be ready.
And, Trey Turner's not going to take nothing, too. That's something to look out for, those one-on-ones with Trey and McCoy. They both talkers. They both like to talk.
Well, they've been going up against each other for years now. So, yeah, this is really going to be interesting.
And another thing about, that battle, McCoy shared a story where in 2014, when Trey was a rookie, first time he played him, and he told him after the game, he walked up to him and told him, hey, if you don't change, if you keep working and grind them, you're going to be a Pro Bowler. And Trace and he said when Trey made the Pro Bowl the next year, the 2015 magical season that the Panthers had, he called up McCoy and was like, bruh, how did you know? He said, man, I know football. He said, I play against you twice a year. He said, I knew you was going to be, a Pro Bowl guard, man. I saw it the first time I played against you. So, just that type of aspect about it. I just love the fact that these camp battles, we're really going to get iron sharpening iron. Now that we're, going to be hybrid and things like that, that allows us to be able to practice against teams that run the 3-4, where we always seem to have a struggle with, 30 front teams. Now, instead of just having practice squad guys trying to emulate, we can use our very own guys that's running, somewhat similar or identical schemes to help us out. So yeah, Tim, you hit it spot on, man. I mean, not only is the defense going to do things on the field against the offense who we playing against, but it's going to help make our offensive line and our schemes better. They're going to tell you, as a defender, this is what we see. This is how I'm thinking about it. And that's going to allow, our guys, our offensive line with, coaching of, the great, John Masco and Travell Wharton to really, home in on these skills. And I think that, we could be a top 10 unit offensive line and defensive line in 2019, when it's all said and done. I just think that the potential is going to be, man, because, these battles in practice in that camp, I'm telling you, I'm going to have a bib on. The brother's going to be drooling at Walford, man. I'm going to be sitting there, y'all might look at me and be like, is that brother drooling? Yeah. He's having, lineman attack. So, that's how excited I am, man. Camp cannot get here quick enough. I'm telling you.
And thing is, like, who are you double teaming? I mean, think about what Coy can create for the others around him. Him and KK being the getting the most attention on their D lines. They're always fighting through double teams. So now you're gonna double team McCoy. Now KK is gonna get a one-on-one situation, or vice versa. Or no, you got to put two bodies on both of them. Now, good luck trying to block a Brian Burns or a Mario Addison one-on-one. So, not only is he going to come in and make explosive plays himself, he's going to draw double teams and help free up, rushes for other guys. So there's so much he's going to bring to the table to help this, defense take their game to the next level.
And another thing, and again, it's like you read in my mind. Okay, let's say they do decide to leave a tight end and have 6 blockers to try to, double up a couple of players. Okay, so y'all ain't gonna try to block Luke Kuechly and Shaq Thompson? I bet. You know what I'm saying? Don't be surprised if we don't, blitz them guys just a little bit more, sporadically, not nothing, heavy or major, but it wouldn't surprise me 2 or 3 times a game, we don't send both linebackers in to eat because you're gonna have to pick your poison, whether it's the D line, whether it's who coming off our edge, or even, from our secondary or our linebackers. Somebody gonna eat consistently on this defense. And I'm excited to see what, Rivera really got to be smiling right now, looking at all different things. I can see him right now with a chalkboard just coming up with stuff, you know what I'm saying? Kind of like how the coach from the Water Boy had the notebook and was just writing, drawing up plays. I can see Rivera doing that right now. Okay, I got Burns here, McCoy here. Okay, I'm a blitz air read. I mean, the defense is going to be having so much fun this year. I can't wait.
Yeah, I saw an interesting stat today. First of all, let's take Aaron Donald and put him in his own category. Leave it at that. But behind Aaron Donald, Kawan Short and Gerald McCoy were number 2 and 3 and fastest to the quarterback. So, that just means they get to the quarterback faster than any other interior defensive lineman in the NFL. So, you combine them with, what Brian Burns was able to do as a speed rusher, Mario Addison, his ability to get to the passer quickly. There's going to be a race to the quarterback coming up this year. And another thing, about Kawan Short, another stat I saw today, he was 4th in the NFL in, I think it was quarterback pressure percentage. So imagine how that's going to go up now that he's got Gerald McCoy to help draw double teams and help create one-on-one matchups for himself. And another thing, maybe Gerald McCoy will be on that list as well now that, Short's going to draw double teams and give McCoy opportunities to beat guys one-on-one. So, there's so many ways this impacts us.
And definitely in the secondary as well. Think about it. Once our D-line and our edge rushers start eating, okay, quarterback's going to be doing, trying to get the ball out quick. Now our cornerbacks can, they can turn their ball ass heads around, we can jump some routes and take some balls back to the house. One thing I noticed that when Rivera took over the play calling, we started playing a whole lot more man defense. Again, I know that statistically, I think we were 7th as, those of y'all that watched the YouTube video that was greatly done by Will Harris. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to the 4-Man Rush on YouTube. But Will did a very thorough, detailed breakdown of, the Panthers, zone coverages and safety schemes. And, one thing that I noticed is that, when Rivera took over the play calling, we saw a whole lot more man. When we held the Saints to 12 points, most of the coverage that night was man coverage. Just, you got him, you got him, you got him, let's go. May the best man win. And a majority of the night, we were winning that. So, we still going to have some zone schemes, but I can see us doing a whole lot more man with Rivera play calling. I think that with the defensive pressure that we can now create with, our defensive line and our edge, man, our DBs with a lot of opportunities. So I hope they're hitting that judge machine good because, we could become pick six city if they take advantage of the opportunities that's going to be presented.
And that was one of the keys to the 2016 season. We were taking the ball away at an enormous rate. and that put us in a short field situation, and we capitalized, and we were crushing people. The same thing could happen
39
here,
turnovers.
right? Right, and obviously, well, in my eyes, personally, I think the offense we have now under North Turner is far better than what we had in 2015. For the simple fact, when the Olsen's healthy, you compare him. Well, you compliment him with McCaffrey, right? You have an offensive line that is probably better than that offensive line put together completely, and you have somebody as explosive as DJ and Curtis. I mean, yeah, we have Clutchery, you know, but we didn't have that type of speed, right? I mean, we have Philly, but we didn't have that type of speed and ability to run after the catch like these guys. And you got North Turner calling the shots. Man, this could be one heck of a season, folks. One heck of a season. I can't wait. You guys want
Yeah,
to?
on paper,
Yeah, go
what
ahead.
did Peter Schrager from NFL Network, he said on paper the Carolina Panthers are loaded. I'm a Panther fan, but I try to call it like I see it. I don't think last year's team was, really stood out on paper. We had an aging defensive line, aging secondary. Eric Reed came in a little late, mid-early season.
Mm-hmm.
And we had two young wide receivers still learning the system. So, I mean, 7-9, you are what your record is. So I think, it was basically a 7-9 team. But this year, my expectations are high. I mean, this is a nice roster Hurney was able to put together.
Right, right. And everybody's on the same page. And like you guys both alluded to, that locker room situation, that's where championships are made, man. Everybody trusts each other. They fight for each other. They go to work, expecting the next man to be on the same page as them, and everybody just runs cohesively towards the same goal. And that's gonna be a huge plus for us. So um anything else you guys want to touch on before we wrap this up?
I just like to, just add in the fact that, 12-4 is always my yearly goal for this team, before, the camp roster comes out. Mm-hmm. And I really think that on paper, with the talent that we got, if it can remain relatively healthy and coaching does what it does, this could potentially be, a very good, if not special season for us. And, I don't want to send nobody on false hopes. I don't want to, make it seem like I'm a home or anything like that. But, realistically, with the mind frame of this team, and, it's all starts from the top, with our owner, Mr. Tepper. He says there's three things that he's about: winning, winning, and winning. Mm-hmm. And, he's been patient. He's got out of the way. He's, done what he felt like he needed to do. But at the most part, he's let everybody do their jobs. But he definitely want to make sure that their jobs met the expectation that he has for this team. And I think Hurney got the hint, and I think he nailed his part. So as we get ready to transition over to minicamp, which I plan on, bringing some 4-man rush exclusive from there on all the way down to, Camp Wofford in late July, I really see Rivera take these groceries that Hurney done bought him, and I'm ready to sit at the table and have gourmet meals all year.
Anything to add, Will?
Yeah, well, one thing to remember is even the 6-10 season, but these losing seasons, it comes down to close games. The Panthers are losing games by 6 points or less. So now you bring in a guy like a Gerald McCoy or a Brian Burns. They can make those game-changing plays, get that quarterback pressure, get that strip set, get those extra possessions for your offense, help you get those extra opportunities to win the game, make those game-saving stops on defense. So, I think that's a big thing to look at, too. These games are decided by 6 points or less. Other than the Pittsburgh game last year, the Panthers aren't really getting blown out of the water, even during the losing season. So, that's another thing to keep in mind.
Indeed, man. Indeed. A cohesive unit will overcome those shortcomings. That was another thing that we got over the hump in the that Super Bowl season. We were winning the close ones. We were pulling them out. Cam was driving us down the field, getting us in great field position to make plays or to score the touchdown and get the field goal. defense is wrapping it up, shutting people down when they needed to, and there was that nice cohesiveness going on, and I think that's where we're headed this year. So, well, Panther fans, episode 12 is in the wraps, and boy, do we got a gem on this team! Oh my God! So, on behalf of Kevin, Will, and myself, Timmy VO, and peace to the fellas, Larry and Monty, and our team behind the scenes, the social media management, and blog writers. We would like to say thank you for listening to another episode of the Four Man Rush. Stay tuned for episode 13. Who knows what's going to happen now? When you put people like that on your team, man, folks start to get a little motivated to come join you. So we'll see what's going on. We'll see what's going on. Thanks for joining us for the Four Man Rush podcast, and we will talk to you guys next time. And as always, keep pounding.
Take time to really let it breathe. So baby, just chill. Yeah. She love it. We out in public and we can just chill with my partners, and we can go back to my crib and just chill under covers and do we call me and you lovers.
The Four-Man Rush is brought to you by the love and respect of and for the Carolina Panthers and Carolina Panther fans everywhere. Keep pounding. The Four-Man Rush is a non-affiliate of the Carolina Panther organization. All thoughts, assessments, and content of this podcast is directly related to the Four-Man Rush exclusively. Thank you.